DaVinci Resolve 18.1 is an exciting update with powerful new features that will speed up your work. If you are creating content for social media such as TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, or YouTube Shorts, you can now edit in vertical and square aspect ratios. There are new default project settings to speed up creating projects when you want to create vertical or square pixel aspect ratio videos. Plus, you can set one of these new formats as your default project setting by using the three-dot option menu. Just select and choose Set Current Setting as default preset. In DaVinci Resolve 18, uploading to YouTube via the Quick Export window was improved. Now, in DaVinci Resolve 18.1, you also get an improved YouTube preset in the Deliver page. You get the speed of a preset, but you have more control to customize the compression and quality and encoding profile settings. To use it, all you need to do is select a template such as YouTube or Vimeo, and then adjust the encoding profile to select a quality. Set a base lower bitrate to improve upload speeds when using slower internet, or when you want better quality, the main or high setting will provide a higher bitrate for better video quality. You can now directly upload to your favorite social media or syncing platform right from within the Deliver page. Plus, in DaVinci Resolve 18.1, you can now upload a custom thumbnail for the video you're uploading. There's also a new Review Before Upload feature that lets you do a final check of rendered videos before they're uploaded. This option is located in the Render Queue three-dot menu. In DaVinci Resolve 18.1, collaborating with other people using Blackmagic Cloud has some great new improvements. Previously, multi-user collaboration in DaVinci Resolve was done on the whole bin, so it would lock all the timelines in the bin. This was quite inflexible because it affected all the timelines even if you only wanted to lock a single timeline. Now, the new timeline locking operation locks only the timeline you're working on. This is great because different editors can now work on different timelines even when they're neatly stored in the same bin. There is no need to store timelines in separate bins for multi-user access, so you now have the freedom to arrange your project any way you want. Let me show you how this works. Here, you can see I've opened a project that's hosted on the Blackmagic Cloud. There are two timelines in the same bin, and multiple editors are working on timelines in this bin. My colleague is editing on timeline 1, and even though we are both in the same bin, I can still edit timeline 2. So each editor owns their own timeline, automatically only locking the timeline they're working on without locking the parent bin or the media within it. Of course, you can still manually lock individual bins to secure their contents anytime you need. DaVinci Resolve 18.1 is a major update for the Fairlight Audio page, plus has improvements to the audio features in the Edit and Cut pages. These new features will help make professional audio workflows in the Fairlight page faster, easier, and more powerful than ever. Let's start in the inspector, where you'll find two new dialogue-based track effects for quickly removing background noise and improving dialogue levels. First is the powerful new voice isolation tool for DaVinci Resolve. Voice isolation is a DaVinci Neural Engine AI-based effects process that instantly recognizes and isolates the human voice from background sounds. This example includes 4 voice clips with obvious background noise issues, such as crowd noise, traffic, aircraft, explosions. You only need to enable voice isolation in the inspector, and the Neural Engine AI instantly recognizes and isolates the voice. Crowd noise, traffic, aircraft, explosions. Voice isolation is perfect for cleaning up interviews and dialogue clips recorded on location, like this cooking show.
With a stir fry, really is an absolute plethora of options really for you. Today we're going to do a vegetarian one.
You can apply voice isolation to a track or an individual clip. Just select the clip, enable voice isolation, and the distracting background noise is gone.
With a stir fry, really is a absolute
Use the amount
plethora
control to
of
focus
options really for
completely
you.
on the voice,
Today we're going to do a
or
vegetarian one. We're
dial
going to
it
use
back so
shiitake
the
mushrooms.
natural sounds of the
Shiitake
room are
mushrooms
still present.
really uh, a really sensational cultivated mushroom. They offer you
Use
a
the
really
controls
meaty
window to
flavour,
switch
really
the
meaty
effect
texture.
on and off.
So we're gonna start off with that.
Voice isolation also works in the edit page and cut page, so video editors can easily clean up dialogue with a
With a
single
stir fry,
click.
really is a absolute plethora of options really for you. Today we're going to do a vegetarian
In this
one. We're gonna use
example, I'll
shiitake
disable
mushrooms.
voice
Shiitake
isolation in the
mushrooms
edit
are
page. Then, go to the cut page to enable it. This means you can keep dialogue that would be totally
plethora of
unusable
options
without
really for
having
you.
to be a
Today we're going to do
professional
a
audio
vegetarian one. We're
expert.
going to use shiitake mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms are really a really sensational cultivated mushroom. They offer you a really meaty flavour.
A great example is this podcast interview that was recorded too low a level, so the dialogue now has excessive noise when the level's increased just to be audible.
Wider than what we have to work with, so
You can also enable or disable the voice isolation track effect in the Fairlight mixer. Disabled effects are italicized and yellow when turned on.
what we're seeing with our eyes is so much wider than what we have to work with. So the world is so beautiful and what we see, and so that's really inspiring to me. And then it's like, how do I take that and then translate it into this?
DaVinci Resolve 18.1 also introduces a second powerful AI-based track effect called Dialogue Leveler. The new Dialogue Leveler will intelligently process dialogue recordings to even out varying levels for natural, smooth-sounding results. It can remove the need for tedious keyframe and automation adjustments and avoid overprocessed sounding clips due to heavy compression and limiting. An example here is this clip, which would require extensive keyframes to achieve target levels. Instead, I'll reset the clip volume, select the track in the mixer, and enable the dialogue leveler for the track. The default settings will optimize levels for most sources with 3 active processes that reduce loud dialogue, lift soft dialogue, and reduce background noise.
Now you're here. Alive.
The controls window includes a real-time scrolling waveform that shows the effect of the 3 active processes.
We also sustained some hull damage, but it's nothing critical. And now you're here. Alive.
You can also change the output gain and processing mode. Now let's try the dialogue leveler on the podcast interview track. And we will use the meter plugin to show the levels before and after. First, you can hear the track without the effect. In the meter, optimal dialogue levels are yellow, while red and green are too loud or too quiet in most cases.
We have to work with, so the world is so beautiful and what we see. And
As you can see, the levels are all over the place. Now, let's see what happens when we use the dialogue leveler.
what we're seeing with our eyes is so much wider than what we have to work with. So the world is so beautiful and what we see, and so that's really inspiring to me.
The dialogue leveler can also fix and mix a recording where talent turns off mic while talking. In this example, Chef Jamie alternates between turning away from the mic and leaning into it.
Shiitake mushrooms are really a really sensational cultivated mushroom. They offer you a really meaty flavour, really meaty texture. So we're gonna start off with that.
Now let's fix it with the dialogue leveler.
Shiitake mushrooms are really a really sensational cultivated mushroom. They offer you a really meaty flavour, really meaty texture. So
Getting a great result is effortless, and you can really eliminate the time you would otherwise need to set keyframes and chase dialogue levels for mixing. You can use voice isolation and dialogue leveler on the cut and edit pages too, helping you get some great sounding mixes. DaVinci Resolve 18.1 also includes major improvements to its track-based automation capabilities. Now you can work with new vector-based keyframes. Vectoring means that any two keyframes can represent a perfectly smooth gain change between those 2 points. This makes it a lot easier to draw the automation you want, so you get great results. In addition, Automation Now updates continuously to match the playhead position, whether you're using a console, search dial, or JKL keys. In the timeline, there are now 2 keyframe view modes: a clip editing view for clip keyframes and a track automation view for track curves. The improved automation curves can be edited with standard tools. This means you can freely add and move keyframes or select and adjust levels. You can also draw smooth curves with a pencil. Plus, the focus mode allows selection to delete, nudge, copy a range of keyframes from one track to another, or edit individual keyframes one click at a time. The expanded actions allow writing automation to the start, or end, or all. Plus, there are options to quickly enable auto punch or active range. The active range marker can be resized or moved as needed, and the automation mode changes from preview to write, then read automatically before, during, and after the playhead reaches the active range. This means you can prime the fader in preview, write new data through the range, and finish in read-only when the active range ends. You can also delete the marker when you're finished. Right-clicking the ruler allows you to turn a selection range into an active or punch automation range. Punch automation drops all ARM tracks into write mode within the punch range. If you're working with a mouse and keyboard, hold the Option-Alt key to control all selected tracks at once. Plus, there is a new Safe option, which adds a padlock icon to prevent writing new automation to the track. However, you can still manually edit the automation curve as needed. Finally, you can also turn off a track's automation. The Fairlight Timeline offers a new grid mode for editing clips on a grid. You can use the grid menu to customize the grid line visibility, snapping, time scale of either timecode or tempo, and the resolution. In the example here, I'll use the default one-frame resolution and enable the Snap to Grid option to easily trim, edit, or nudge to the grid lines. When editing to music, it can sometimes be useful to edit to a musical tempo grid. Now, DaVinci Resolve 18.1 supports grid editing based on musical tempo, making this a simple process. Use the right-click menu to set the tempo grid start with the playhead at the beginning of the song. You can also use a range to set the tempo grid. In this example, the music's been randomly moved and trimmed. All I need to do is mark a range as I count out the beats. In, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, out. Now I can right-click the ruler and choose Set Tempo Grid BPM. I can even set the start of the song to the playhead. Now the grid aligns to the music and can be used to edit the soundtrack to the beat. There are so many new features added to the Fairlight page in DaVinci Resolve 18.1. Many of these features are based on user requests. We have a new option for wide track meters and now show track name tooltips in the monitoring panel and mixer. You can now create audio crossfades between clips over a gap. using the Trim
Where am
menu,
I? You are in orbit of planet Q-465b.
or a keyboard shortcut. This is a real time saver when you're quickly cleaning up tracks before mixing.
Oxygen level is critical.
Fairlight now has a new option to focus the timeline on the start or end of a range. This is great for both wide range selections off screen and precision adjustments at the sample level. Plus, the Fairlight timeline now offers additional editing options including ripple cut and paste insert. Fairlight's built-in ADR toolset also has a major update with comprehensive cue controls for an enhanced user experience. In this example, you can see it is now possible to control ADR recording with custom keyboard shortcuts to play, record, rehearse, and stop. On the Setup panel, there's now a live on-screen text preview, so you can see style changes in context with the scene. On the List panel, QID numbers can now be changed even on existing cues. Plus, in and out times update as you move the playhead, and you can tab to navigate through fields for quick editing control. To show how this works, let's import a cue list. You can set the column headers if needed. There are new options for QID, Done, and Ignore. Also, default values will be generated for ignored columns, and QIDs will get a new unique ID. During import, two buttons are now available to clear import and merge import. When you export a cue list, the file name includes ADR cues, the project name, and the timeline name. And finally, the merge functionality is based on QIDs, which enables lossless CSV round trips back and forth between collaborators in a recording session. DaVinci Resolve 18.1 has a number of refinements on the edit page that will enhance your speed and creativity. In the past, you could edit gaps using the selection and trim edit tools, but it required very precise mouse placement to select the gap edge to trim. This was a bit frustrating, so we wanted to improve it. Now you can use the Trim Start and Trim End commands to work on gaps. Simply place your playhead at the point you wish to trim and trim the gap with a shortcut. Subtitle support has been improved, with greater flexibility for managing font selection, scaling, and subtitle positioning. This allows you to make much more professional-looking videos when using subtitles. Plus, you can override individual properties for each subtitle caption, while the font size and background follow the inspector's track settings. You can also specify per-track deliverable rules with multiple tracks to target specific markets, each with their own custom CPS, timing, and line rules. Both track style and rules can be saved and recalled as presets, making recall for shows with multiple episodes simple and easy to replicate. There are also big improvements to timeline markers. You can now add multiple duration markers to source media. This is a great way of organizing usable sections of a clip. Plus, you can use keyboard shortcuts to navigate to any marker. Use the next marker and previous marker shortcuts to navigate, and the marker will automatically be selected, so it's quicker to access the marker and its data. You can press M to enter marker metadata or to review the marker notes using the on-screen overlay. Another valuable organizational tool in Resolve is adding keywords to clips for sorting. This can be time-consuming, so now with DaVinci Resolve 18.1, keywords can be added to clips automatically using Keyword Smart Bins. To use this feature, enable automatic Smart Bins for keywords in the user settings. If you want to add a keyword to another clip in your media pool, you don't have to manually enter the keyword. You can now drag a clip into one of your automatically generated Keyword Smart Bins. There has also been a fix for importing project files from the ATEM Mini ISO and ATEM SDI ISO models of live production switchers. These models support recording a video file for each video input of the switcher. They also record a DaVinci Resolve Project DRP file of the switcher transitions while you worked. In the past, the project was imported with a separate audio track of the program audio and the video clips with the edits. With the video and audio tracks separate, it made it annoying to quickly edit and make changes to the imported timeline. Now, the ATEM DaVinci projects will be imported with the audio track and video together. This makes it simple to cut out parts of the edit you don't want and to adjust edits to fix any mistakes made during the live production. It also means the imported project is a great starting point for using the Sync Bin multicam feature in the cut page to select alternative shots. DaVinci Resolve 18.1 also adds some exciting audio improvements specifically for editors. In the past, even though you had the flexibility in adding new audio tracks on the edit page, they were still always added to the bottom of your timeline. Now, when you add new tracks, they are added in context under the track that you right-clicked. This makes it easier to insert another track to add or make room for additional audio elements, or to just try a different mix. Just like audio, video tracks are also inserted in context, just above the currently selected video track. Improvements have also been made to the project manager. It's now easier to manage multiple projects simultaneously. In the past, if you wanted to export multiple project DRP files, you had to do them one at a time. Now, DRP files for multiple projects can be created simultaneously. Simply select the projects or the folder with all the projects and choose Export Project from the contextual menu. You can also copy or move entire folders of projects with a quick right-click on a folder and then select Copy or Cut. Then you can navigate to the New Location folder and select Paste. Customized keyboards are an important part of DaVinci Resolve. In DaVinci Resolve 18.1, the Fusion Pages hotkey settings have moved to the Keyboard Customization dialog. This means all DaVinci hotkey configurations are now in one place, so it's easier to discover existing shortcuts or create new shortcuts. In the past, not all DaVinci Resolve effects were available outside the color page. Now, the Magic Mask, Dustbuster, Lens Flare, and Stop Motion effects are available in the Fusion page. This means you can use these effects in your Fusion node graph without complicated workarounds. Plus, the Dustbuster effect is now available in the Edit and Cut pages. There have also been improvements when compositing between the Edit and Fusion pages. Creating compositions in the Edit page is fast, but it has limitations because the tools in the Fusion page are more powerful. To make it easier to use your Fusion compositions in your edits, the Media In node now has a new background mode to access Edit page composites. This allows the flexibility of starting a multi-layer composition in your edit timeline, but then moving it into Fusion when you need more powerful features. In DaVinci Resolve 18.1, the color page has new and very powerful features. In the color page, a common task is to replace a sky background with something more appealing. Often, the shoot was on a windy day, so the sky was not right, or the sky did not match between scenes when the shoot happened over different days. Previously, this was a very complex task that required many color nodes to solve. Now, in DaVinci Resolve 18.1, you can use the new Resolve Effects Sky Replacement tool. The Sky Replacement tool lets you quickly and easily replace sky in shots with B-roll or artificially generated sky textures. The Sky Replacement tool can keep the sky consistent between takes or provide more appropriate backgrounds to creatively affect color and mood. Plus, you can key the sky using a qualifier and power windows or magic masks, and then feed that key into the Sky Replacement node. Then you feed a still or video file into the node's second input. Or you can create an artificial sky using the Sky Replacement controls. You can track any camera movement using the Track Foreground button and then fine-tune the composite. In DaVinci Resolve 18, the new Surface Tracker added fast retouching and image manipulation directly in the color page. Now, in DaVinci Resolve 18.1, support for motion blur has been added to improve the realism of textures mapped onto fast-moving surfaces. You can match the amount of motion blur to the scene using the slider in the Result tab. In the past, when using powerful Resolve Effects tools like the depth map, a grade often took 2 or more nodes. That made it just a little bit too complex to quickly reproduce them on each shot. Now, in DaVinci Resolve 18.1, you can perform the same grade with using just a single node. On your node graph, just apply the desired Resolve effect, then right-click on the node and enable OFX Alpha and select Use for mixing. Over the past year, Blackmagic Design engineers have spent a lot of time updating software code to improve performance. This means DaVinci Resolve 18 was the fastest DaVinci ever, with each update getting faster on the new revolution of computer microprocessors. All parts of DaVinci Resolve have improved in speed. Now, this new update adds even more speed improvements. You will now see up to 10 times faster Text Plus playback, 5 times faster face refinement and stabilization, and 3 times faster object removal analysis. Noise reduction is now even faster, with a 4 times faster spatial noise reduction performance. Even temporal noise reduction is now up to 30% faster. These are just some of the new features you will see in DaVinci Resolve 18.1. You can now download this update free of charge from the Blackmagic Design webpage. Just click on the support page and then select DaVinci Resolve. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy using the new DaVinci Resolve 18.1.